Hello and welcome to part 3 of my video series Mastering Nakhmanson Gambit. In today's video I will show you what will happen if black accepts the gambit and puts his king to f6. And if you're the kind of player who says, well, chess is only a hobby and I don't have too much time and I don't want to learn too many variations, I just want to know the most important stuff, well, I think then it's okay to say you could skip this video. I mean, I would still advise you to watch it at least once so that you get a feeling for the positions, but you definitely don't need to memorize all the moves, you know. Because if you think about it from a human eye of perspective, then in this position, what would be the move you would play if you would be black? Well, I can say that 90, if not 99% of players would play the move king to e8. And this move was already analyzed in video 2 of my series, so if you didn't already check it out, just go there and check it out. It's really important and you really have to know this variation by heart if you want to play the Nakhmanson Gambit. But king f6, well, it's such an ugly looking move. A human wouldn't really want to play this move, you know. But with the help of the engine, it turns out that this is actually black's best try if he accepted the gambit. And if he will find the best moves, then yeah, black will be up a pawn in the end and he will remain with a better position. So it's a line I really have to cover. But if you think about it, I still don't believe that many players will play this line even if they are prepared for you. Because if you prepare for the Nakhmanson Gambit, then you will find out that there are quite some decent ways to decline the gambit and gain a good position. And I don't see a reason why black wants to play this variation, because think about it that way. If white just plays a slightly different move and you're out of book as black, then your king is still in grave danger, while you may have a pawn and the engine thinks it's all okay, but in an over-the-board game your engine won't help you. And this is why I don't think it's a practical way of playing for black. But of course I still have to show it to you because the engine thinks it's the best way, and there could be players who think, well, I'm just playing the best moves compared to my engine. So enough talk, I would say. Let's jump right into the analyze. So without further ado, it's time to checkmate. So after the move king to f6, white already got to make a decision. It may look tempting to take the knight on e4 with the queen, because now white would threat the move bishop to g5 check, winning the queen. But to be honest, this actually isn't that good for white, because after bishop to e7, bishop g5 check and king f7, well, black's already attacking the bishop twice, and his king will potentially go to f8 or probably even to g8 if we let him, and he could bring his rook to f8, he could play d6. And if you would analyze this position a little bit deeper, you will find out that this is not enough compensation for white. You may could argue, okay, I have other moves. For example, I could play a move like queen f4 check, but this doesn't help because after king to g6, queen to g4, and king f7, we again reach a position where white doesn't achieve anything. It even helped black because after a move like d6 or d5, he even gains tempo on the bishop. And, well, let's say knight to g5 with the idea of playing queen to f4 check and then queen to f7. Doesn't help anyway because after d5, queen f4 check, yes, bishop to f5. And yes, you could play g4, attacking the bishop a second time, pinning the bishop and winning it back, but after queen to d7, g takes f5, queen takes f5, queen takes c3, and queen takes f4 and bishop takes f4, well, what should I say? Black's just simply up a pawn, and white's pawn structure is ruined. So this position is already better for black, and so even thinks the computer. Computer gives it already as +2 for black, and even if you may argue, well, the king on f6 doesn't look that good, okay, but the queens are off the board, and if some more pieces will exchange, well, then it's probably even a good idea to have the kings that active in the game, you know? So this position is already pretty bad for white. So taking the knight on e4 isn't an option, and this is why I would recommend you to play the move rook to e1. And here, black has to find the only move, knight to e7. I just want to briefly show you some other moves that seems to be logical in some way. For example, let's say black would play bishop to e7. And this is already a big blunder that leads to a forced mate in 9 moves. For example, rook takes e4, b6, rook f4 check, king g6, queen f7 check, king h6, and rook to h4 checkmate. A better try, but still a bad move, would be h6, with the idea to stop any bishop to g5 ideas. But here you just simply can grab the knight on e4 with the rook. And yeah, black's already lost. For example, bishop to d6 to stop any rook to f4 threats, bishop e3, king to g6, rook to g4 check, king h7, bringing the king to shelter, you know. And here white got a stunning move, bishop takes h6. Black cannot take the bishop with the pawn because then it's just simply mate. And if he takes it with the king, well, who cares? Queen to f7, and let's say queen to f6, rook h4 check, queen takes h4 because that's the only move, knight takes h4, threatening mate on g6, so he has to play king to h7, and after queen to f5 check, king to g8, queen to d5 check, king h7, rook to e1, and here we're already clearly better. We're threatening queen to f5 check, and if the king moves to g8, then we have to check on the back rank, and after the bishop moves in between, we just simply capture and it's mate. So he has to do something, let's say rook to f8, well then just simply take the pawn on c3, and I think it's clear that in this position only white can be better. Yes, it's true, we are only up a queen for a rook and 2 bishops. That's true, but black's king's still in danger, and I think that we really should be able to win this game. So yeah, in this position, black really got only one move to stay in the game, and this is knight to e7. And I mean, come on, if you're a human, how can you see such a move? You just developed your piece to c6 and now you bring it back to block all your goddamn pieces? This doesn't make any sense, you know, but it's an engine move. It just simply works, and this is why I think a human will never find this move, but with the help of an engine it's possible, sure. In this position now we just simply take the knight on e4 with the queen, and here again black has to find an only move, and this is king to f7. Another move that looks so ugly. I mean, a much more logical move from a human perspective would probably be d5, you know, attacking the queen, opening up the position for the bishop. But here you just simply have to move queen to f4 check, and after bishop f5, queen g4, you will win back your material, and black's king's still in grave danger. For example, let's say queen to d6, rook to e5, pretty strong move. G6, G takes f5, G takes f5, B takes c3, king to f7, rook takes f5, and yeah, black really cannot take the rook because then it's just simply check, and after king to g8, knight to e5, threatening queen to f7 checkmate, queen to e7, bishop g5, queen to e8, and bishop to f6. The computer gives it already as +8, and the only move that stops us from mating is actually h5. So yeah, this is just simply game over. Instead, you could of course play the move king to e8, but then you just simply can play rook to h5. I just want to mention that a move like knight to e5 is probably worth some homework. I just briefly checked the line, and it looks kind of interesting, but I think that rook to h5 is absolutely fine as well. For example, bishop to g7, queen to g4, bishop takes c3, rook to b1, queen to g6, exchange of queens. Now we just simply grab the rook, and yeah, after some more moves, we reach a position where white is up a pawn. And yeah, I mean, I think this position is absolutely okay for white. Okay, we got a really bad pawn structure, that's true, but we're up a pawn, and you know, I don't think that white is able to lose the game. He will not win it, but I think he got a safe draw, you know. So, okay, let's go back to the game. As I already told you, black's best move in this position is king to f7. This is, again, such a move. Why are you going to f6 just with the king, just to drop back your knight? Then you go to f7 with the king. This is really computer chess, and you really don't have to understand it. It's something you have to know, you know. Anyway, in this position, white's best move is bishop to g5, just simply pinning the knight on e7. Absolute logical move. And here now black will take the pawn on b2, and white will play rook a to b1. And now it's time for black to make some logical moves. d5, attacking the queen, making room for the bishop to come out. Queen to f4 check, and here king to g8 is the main line. King to e8 is already not that good, because after knight g5, threatening mate on f7. For example, bishop to e6 and rook takes b2. I think we reach a position where white got at least some compensation for the pawn. His rooks are pretty active. The queen could come over. You know, all pieces are pretty well placed. While it's not so easy for black to find a way to develop all his pieces. You know, I think this position is absolutely okay for white. Another option would be to play queen to d6 in this position, but after queen to f7 check, king to d8, we could simply just take the draw by playing knight to c4. This may look a little bit crazy at the first point, but the point is that black cannot take the knight, because then you have to move rook b to d1, and yeah, after you win the queen, this is just simply game over, you know. Come on, this is just simply one for white, so he cannot take the knight. And if he cannot take the knight, what can he play? Well, his best move is queen to d7, but then you just simply retreat with the knight, and you have a perpetual of moves. Congratulations, you saved the draw and a variation. That's probably not that good for you, because it's a computer line, right? Let's go back to the game. Best move for black in this position is king to g8, and here white should play queen to e5. Attacking the knight the third time and putting even more pressure on black's position. So here it's not that easy. For example, a move like king to f7 would run into queen to f4 check, and after king to g8 and queen to e5, black could take the repetition of moves and the draw, or he just simply decides to play h6, and then you just simply grab the knight. And after some exchanges, and after b6, well, I will stop my analyze. I have to admit, we reach a position where black is just simply better. His king is relatively safe. I mean, it's not as safe as our king, but, you know, relatively safe. He's up a pawn. And I don't see how we can increase our pressure on black's king within the next moves, you know. Black most likely will put his bishop to f5 or to g4, probably even you go to a6. He will, at a certain point, push up his pawns and bring his rooks into the game, probably trading queens, you know. Truth must be told, this position is better for black, no doubt about it, but he really had to find some only moves, and, well, I really doubt that a black player without an engine would find all his moves. And just keep in mind, you still could invest some time and try to figure out some other moves for white, you know. It's not that my moves were forced, it's just the way I would play it as white. And of course, even in the ending position, it's only a pawn, and, well, with good play, probably you're able to save a draw. I mean, okay, that's probably not what you wanted to go for, but, well, but it's chess, right? I mean, if you're playing an opening that's not 100% sound, and you could end up in a position that is slightly worse for you, and this is actually the case in this position. And just keep in mind, I really would doubt that any black player will play this line against you, because, as I already told you, it's more like an engine line, you know? So I still hope you liked today's video. I hope you learned something, and if you did, please let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And if you want to know more about the Nakhmanson Gambit, just check out my next videos or check out my lecture study. I will put the link down below in the video description. There you can find this variation and all the other variations, and you will also find some variation I didn't cover in this video because then it would just simply be too much. So yeah, see you next time, and it's again time to checkmate.